What's up? Yo, 2 live feeds in one day. 2 live feeds and a microphone. Let us know if you can hear us. This is Kylie. Kylie's an amazing friend of mine. There she is, look. Kylie, look, there's nobody on. Oh, we got somebody. It's Artem. Artem. I'm still working on my Russian. All right, so this was not clickbait. Kylie totally works in the mental health field. And I don't know shit about mental health. I just know what my clients tell me. I know what I see works and doesn't work. I was hoping that maybe Kylie could shed some light on some of the things, you know, that I'm passionate about, and you know, maybe why I can't explain they work or don't work. And one of the big things that I'm super passionate about is understanding that I'm not against anything. I'm not against tools. I'm not against techniques. What I'm against is not knowing why you're applying it. So, you know, a squirt bottle is great, an e-collar is great, and a cone is great, a muzzle is great, putting a watch on your dog is great, I don't know. But if you don't know why you're actually doing it, it's going to be pretty tough to get, you know, lasting results. So one of the things that I'm super passionate about is that. And I'm curious, for me, I feel like when people think it's a tool, it removes them from the equation. They don't take any responsibility for the reality they create. They're saying, like, it must be the dog, it must be this thing that's going to fix it.
Yeah, and they're looking for a quick fix as well. So they're looking for something that says it's not them, it's the dog, I think.
Yeah. So you do dog training and work in the mental health field. Do you find that most likely it's the environment, or do you find it's not? Is it something that's the dog's living, or is it something that the dog's not getting applied to him?
I'm not sure, but I think at home what we see a lot of is people, so there's a lot of stress, like in human lives just now there's loads of stress, and I think what happens is people are using their dogs as an outlet for that stress. So rather than deal with whatever's causing them stress in their lives, and which is also affecting the dog, they're going to use their dog becomes something useful that they can feel anxious about. So, you know, someone can't say, I'm really anxious about my relationship, but they can say, I'm really anxious about my dog.
Yeah. So they're kind of like transferring things in their life.
Yeah, the dog becomes an outlet for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. This is so amazing. All right, anybody want to say hi? Yeah, we can do like invites and talk to Kimberly. You know, you just want to, like, you know how there's cute aggression? I have friend aggression too. Kylie's like that too. You just want to grab him and you're just like, ah! She's so nice. She's so nice. She's cooked dinner. Like, I mean, it's like amazing. She's shared some amazing things with us. Okay, so one of the things, so put some questions up here. If somebody wants to like get crazy and get up here, we'll like pop you on the screen like over here. So one of the things that I posted earlier, and I did a really shitty live feed. It was really fast. And then, like, the day had to start, but I wanted to get it out there, was about the no-leash laws in Scotland.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Americans, that would blow... I mean, go ahead.
So I think it's a shame here that all the leash laws, I know our dogs get to enjoy a lot of freedom, and people have been saying that dogs in Scotland must not have much problems, but you definitely do get a lot of problems, and it's two extremes. So for me, so yesterday that dog ran up to us in the park, and that happens a lot at home, because there's two groups of people: the people whose dogs have to be on lead, or they want them on lead because there's some sort of problems or reactivity or something like that, and then there's the other group of people who have their dogs off lead all the time, pretty much anywhere they go. So you said that situation doesn't happen to you a lot, but it happens to us a lot. If I have an anxious dog that I don't want dogs near, it's really common that dogs just run up in the park. So it kind of divides the people. But I do love the freedom that it has. Like, we can walk anywhere, we can go anywhere, and we can have our dogs off lead. So a dog like Kita, I think, would love that.
Yeah.
But it still means there's a lot of anxious people around and a lot of anxious dogs around, because of this possibility, this real possibility that dogs are going to come running up, and if you've got a dog that isn't going to deal with that situation well, then it's stressful for you.
So is there anybody that's trying to bridge that gap? Because I just feel like it's always a division. It's always like one or the other. So it's like the people that are like the on-leash people, and then there's like the people that are off-leash. Is there anybody that's trying to like do a mix of it and kind of like educate? I mean, do you guys even have dog parks?
No, we don't have any dog parks.
Okay.
Not that I can think of. Maybe in some of the big cities, but I don't think they're definitely not as popular as they are here. I guess most trainers, their aim is to kind of to bridge that gap. But again, some trainers talk about control all the time and think that every dog should be kind of restrained or controlled or whatever. But yeah, I think that's what probably most people are aiming for, is to have this world where your dog can be on lead or off lead and everyone can get along nicely, I guess.
Yeah.
Another thing that you see a lot of is because some dogs spend so much time off lead, there's always going to be situations where you have to put a lead on them, and those dogs that are off lead all the time, maybe they're really sociable, when they get put on a lead they're pulling a lot, they then get frustrated, or so yeah, it can create that negative situation as well.
Anybody that follows us on Instagram, that dog is Beyonce. If you guys watch her in those videos, she is the most mellow, chill. I mean, you're there. She sleeps 11 hours a day. You put her on leash and she is a trained killer. Like, I mean, it is insane, the switch that she's learned. That wasn't genetic. She wasn't, born to be aggressive on leash, but it's fascinating how much. That is a very interesting perspective. So I mean, that's something like I ran into. So I started in New Jersey, which was mostly on leash. There was some dog parks and things. Moving to Napa, which then my dogs were never on leash. I mean, we lived like literally, we'd open up the doors and like we were in a vineyard. So very rarely. I mean, we'd go downtown, but everybody's dog's on leash. Now LA, it's pretty, it's on leash. I mean, you're there. It's pretty much on leash. And then there's the people that are blatantly. So it's like the opposite where you live. It's the people that are blatantly not following the law here, like that guy yesterday, versus the people that, in your situation, who are just have their own situation. So one of the things that I saw, one of our friends shared some stuff with like the leash laws and things. So there's like super heavy fines and penalties for dogs that are out of control. What does out of control mean? Like,
well, yeah, that's a good question, because even the dog wardens, I don't think, know what out of control means. Because I think that having your dog on lead by law means that it's under control, but you obviously see a lot of dogs on lead that are out of control, and it's just a case of the owner's just kind of hanging on for dear life. And if they drop the lead, bad things would happen. There's definitely no control there. It's just restraint. It's just the lead is attached to them.
Yeah. And there's just like so many. I just see it so much.
I guess in theory it should be a really nice place to live, and it should, and especially in comparison to here where the dogs are on lead all the time. But I think to do the same thing we were talking about earlier, that emotional connection and all the stress and the anxiety and the love and affection for your dog gets confusing, gets lost in translation somewhere. And a lot of time it's the anxiety, so especially maybe people with small dogs. So I've got a small dog and I'm not like this so much, but some people with small dogs, an off-lead dog will run up just to be sociable and they'll pick the dog up, because they love their dog so much, they don't want something to happen to it. So obviously, they're going to pick it up. That's the way they think they have to deal with it.
Yeah. I mean, what we think is love and what they take in, it's amazing. That's what I think one of the biggest problems is, and that's what I learned from Brandon, was like a lot of the things that people, when they have to make a change in the environment, all the things they were doing was from their perspective, love and affection. So how could it be wrong? Yeah. And that's why everybody always asks me, like, what's my favorite dog training book? It's the 5 Love Languages. I love that book because it really makes you aware of, like, oh God, it's not just what I think you want. It's what you actually need. Like, my wife is a words of affirmation. Although she did just change it. Were you here for that? No. She did make a declaration. She's now saying that she's physical touch. So we'll see. So we don't know what the rules are on how many times you can change it. Anyway, but yeah, I mean what they feel is love. I mean, coming from that perspective, I mean, when you sit down with people, I mean, does that cross your mind ever? Like that? I mean, they're like how to start to help them realize that even though it was love, it's more about the information. And
it's such a huge thing that I think, like, I don't know how it's ever going to change, like, in terms of, like, it has to be like a society change rather than a individual change, I guess, and I'm not sure how to do that the best way.
But to start with yourself, it's like Michael Jackson said, start with the man in the mirror.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you become aware of.
Yeah. And yeah, I think people are starting to get aware, but it's about putting someone else's needs before your own, but also kind of realising what their actual needs are. Like, is the needs of the dog to get to play all day or to chase a ball all day, or is it something else?
Yeah, and we were talking about it right before we went live, is like the marketing of it all. I mean, we're marketed that we're all different in so many ways, that we're so divided. So, you know, Brandon has this great analogy that, like, you adopted a dog from the dog park, or from the dog pound yesterday. I adopted one. They were just the same people. Now we see each other on the street, and my dog reacts, and your dog is fine, and now I have a bad dog. They just came from the same place. I mean, like, why are we always separating? Let's work together. But if we realize how much we're marketed to those, you know, our weaknesses, you know, I just had a nice conversation with Teresa's son. It was kind of funny. He was telling me about, why'd you use a semicolon? And I was like, because I didn't know what to use. And he's like, and he started to tell me, like, that I was wrong about that. And I said, really? I said, then a lot of copywriters would be out of business, dude. Because if it wasn't people like me that didn't know how to do commas, but also had the motivation to do things, you know, it's a cycle. So we're always told what we're not good at. So, you know, look at what you are good at. I mean, there's so many good things people are doing, and the more we try to separate each other, it's horrible. It's been fascinating. So the other day we went to the grocery store, and Kylie was like, "That's not true." It was on the front of the cover of one of the magazines.
Yeah.
It was just so funny because she's like, "Oh, that's totally." She's like lives there. She's part of the UK, and she's like, "What?"
Yeah, there was a gossip. It was a gossip magazine had a story about a royal family, that they were trying to sell you something really exciting was happening in the royal family, but it's not. I spoke to them earlier. It's definitely not.
And I didn't fall for it. I did not buy that magazine. I promise. The star is still there. Yeah. So let's go through the tools knowledge by the handler. Yeah. I mean, it's so amazing. Like, the analogy I always give Kylie is Melissa, right? Like, you watch her work. She types on her keyboard. Imagine if her computer, I don't even want to say it. Imagine if she had to switch computers tomorrow and she went to a PC. Mm-hmm. Is it going to change anything?
No, she's still a good writer.
It's the why. She knows where to put this. She's better than Miles, actually. For a teenager, you can't believe that, but there's people that are better than you. But it's not the tool. It's the knowledge behind it. You know, if it was a desktop, what if she had to type in the van? What if it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. So not important. Let's go through. Anybody else? Artem, where are you at? Jana, oh, my friend Jana had a baby. Congratulations. Say congratulations, Jana. She's nice. You would love her mom. Jana, if you could ever convince your mom to get on Facebook and the four of us sat down, that'd be an interesting conversation. And I hope you're wonderful. I've been leaving you alone because I didn't know you're having the baby stuff, and tell Austin happy birthday. I follow what's going on. I know. I watch you. Hi. Issues in so many human dynamics. Oh, can I click see more? So many trainers. Oh, I can't read all the comments. I was bummed by that one because you took some time to write that. I'll answer back to that. Hi there. Exactly. What are the surroundings or the situation is mirrored in the dog? I mean, the people aren't even thinking about that. My wife just posted something the other day. It's like most people, they're not even asking why they have. Oh, Teresa, my partner, she wrote that. It was like most people aren't even asking why they have this problem. Just trying to fix it. Why do you even have that? Well, maybe because of this or that. Like Kylie getting here, putting on 12 pounds. Jesus Christ.
That's a secret.
It's like two people. Teresa's the same way. She can eat anything. She's like, oh yeah, you're a terrible person because you ate a donut while I'm eating a donut. Handling my dogs on the lawn line. Oh, cancel. Okay. Yeah, long lines are great. I mean, all this stuff is great. It's kind of powerful. Allison, what's up? Gary on the 1 and 2. That's me. Grant, what's up, my homie? Grant had a very good marketing success, side note, using Nextdoor. He was telling me about that. He had some, and he used a poll. It was very smart. Good execution there, Grant. It's not always just about the idea. You actually have to and answer back to 9 people and be polite and go out and do the meet and greets and show up when you say. And it's a lot of work, right, Grant? And you being 22 or 23, I think you're that young. You got a lot of time, and you're getting off on a good foot. Just keep learning, bud. Is already making us to be more physical. Yeah. I mean, if I went to like alien country and they slapped some handcuffs on you, but it was the greatest thing in the world, you wouldn't know. All of a sudden, your choices are taken away.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Isn't Kylie great? She was so nervous. She's wonderful. Medications instead of the. Do you ever recommend anxiety meds for the dogs?
What was that?
She said, "Do you ever recommend anxiety medicine for the people instead of for the dogs?" So.
Yeah, no, I would.
We get the joke.
Yeah. But you definitely have to work on their anxiety, especially if it's in relation to the dog. Then you have to help them deal with that.
I'm allowed to change once, my wife said. All right, that's fine. It's a woman's world, right? What would Susan Hyatt said? She'd yell at me. I love Susan Hyatt. We got to bring Susan Hyatt on for a question and answer. She'll whip everybody into shape and ourselves. Yeah. It's amazing how powerful people think once they get the thing in their hand. How many people tell you, like, once they grab the collar, they know, right?
Yeah.
Because they finally feel powerful. The whole time they feel weak, but when they get that thing.
Or the other thing is that it's sold to them as this thing that's going to fix it. So they put the lead on or they clip the thing on or whatever it is, and it doesn't work. So then they're going to feel like, well, does this work for everybody else? And it's not working for me. You're going to feel even worse about that. I've got people at home just now who had a different thing every week, so they just have a load of different leads or things hanging up that was sold to them as this will stop the pulling or this will stop that.
Yeah.
And none of them have worked.
Yeah, one of my favorite stories. I don't want to tell you. I don't want to spray the. I'm cutting off all access to information, but this is a dead true story from the person, and this person would never lie to me. Never. It's a great friend. There's a positive reinforcement trainer out there who they watched smack their dog in the face, yet gave a seminar about how the dog was supposed to do all these amazing things by just using all positive things. Right? I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying gather all the information before we jump on things with marketing. Marketing is an amazing thing. It can be used for great things, and it can be used for terrible things. So that's not a bash on positive reinforcement. That's not a bash on balance trainers. It's just real, right? It's just, it happened. It's a fact. Whatever you feel about it, that's up to you. But that is a fact. So be very, very careful with all the information. There's crazy people like me sitting here spouting off on Facebook. It's so easy these days. I know, I'm crazy. She's been here for days. Everyone with puppies that are 8 to 16. Yes. Know about what the socialization periods. When do they need to be around things? That's a very, very interesting area to be studying. So go do some research on some good things about that. I'm not going to lecture on that right now. But definitely. Because that's where a lot of the problems start. One of my friends on here has that problem right now. Dog was young, had some experiences, and there you go. Oh, hi, Teresa. Tell Miles I love him, but I did have to. What's up, Eric? Make a scene. Melissa's going to make a scene, Susan Hyatt. Do you see the difference between dogs here in Scotland, manners, the way they are with humans?
What's that?
So this wonderful Susan Brown wants to know, do you see a difference between dogs here and Scotland, manners, or the way they are with their humans?
I haven't seen any dogs off lead here, so I haven't seen a lot of social interactions between dogs. I see a lot of avoidance, people crossing the road, a lot of dogs barking at fences and gates, and maybe the weather's too bad in Scotland, so our dogs aren't out in the garden as much. I don't know.
Garden's the backyard.
But yeah, the only time I've seen lots of socialisation because I've spent 2 weeks with you, but I haven't seen any on the streets or in the parks. I haven't seen any social behaviour.
Except for our accident yesterday.
Apart from that one,
and that was amazing. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that was like a great... I did a whole live feed on Instagram. Super bummer. Instagram, get your shit together. Why can't you save live feeds? You almost have the perfect platform. Almost. You have none of the negativity that you get with Facebook, but you can't save my live feeds? How am I supposed to... Anyway, but you can save the stories. My phone froze. Long lines, training lines gave handlers the opportunity to adjust behavior. Yeah. Whatever worked. I mean, I'm not here to, that's the biggest thing. When I do these things, I'm not here to argue anything with anybody. If you have I want to hear it. I just probably already thought about it. Big problem with wildlife or pets because of no leash laws. a lot of chasing deer, things like that?
Yeah. In the country, there's so farmers are allowed to shoot dogs if they are bothering their livestock, and probably one thing people go to trainers a lot for is to get good recall around things like that or in situations like that. Because the other thing in Scotland is that you're allowed to walk anywhere you want to walk. There's a no trespass law, so you can go through fields and you can go around woods, and which again is great unless you have this problem of your dog's going to chase deer. I'll post a link in the comments of a video in one of the London parks I was telling you about, where this dog, everyone's probably seen it, chasing a herd of deer through some big London park. So yeah, that is a problem.
So this is what I've learned in those situations. Like, having a recall to tell your dog to come back is important. But why is your dog out so far away from you anyway? What environment are you producing that makes their reality more enjoyable, more adrenalized to want to run away? Why aren't they more suspicious? Why aren't they acting like me if I went to Scotland tomorrow and had to drive on the wrong side of the road and had to, like, whoa, slow down, everybody explain what's happening right here, instead of, hey, I'm American, let me jump in my car and jump over here and do all these. I mean, it's just, she's laughing because this is the stuff we talk about at night while we're eating Danishes. Study for humans, stray dogs. Do you have a lot of stray dogs?
No, not so much, and if there are, they get picked up really quickly.
Okay.
Mostly in the cities you would maybe see them, and they get picked up quickly.
Yeah. So, one of the things, I don't want to go too far into too much detail, like what we talk about is what we talked about because it's in context, but that is really, I feel like that the two things that changed my life completely working with dogs was, number one, telling them what I don't like and keeping that in balance, right? And then also understanding that it's not about calling them away from things. I mean, that's fine, like, you know, to have a recall, I'm not saying it's bad, you know, but I'm saying, like, moving away from things is more powerful. Like, we had 3 scraps today that we were able to break up verbally, right? Mm-hmm. And everybody moved away. Yep. Why are they able to move away? If it's not a genetic problem, right? It's not genetic, so they didn't keep going. Like, how do they learn to move away from things? And it's not by teaching them to go forward. Right? Yeah. Do you find a lot of people playing toys and stuff? You guys have, like, PetSmart and all these? Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, I was already thinking about this today for some reason, that Christmas is coming up and there's going to be a whole there's going to be a whole, like, emphasis on dogs, toys, and, you know, how many toys you're going to get your dog for Christmas, or people give me, and I'm not being unappreciative, but people will give me toys for my dog who doesn't play with a lot of toys for Christmas. Yeah, people do that.
Has that increased over the years? Have you noticed, like, a correlation between the behavior? Like, have you talked to some trainers that have been doing it 20 years or 30 years who have noticed? Because that's one of the things Brandon said to me once, was that he's been doing it, like, over 25 years or something, like, I think by now, is once the leash laws really started to become really highly penalized, then he started seeing more behavior problems.
Okay, yeah. I think maybe... So maybe some people use toys, you know, a lot of dogs. Dog daycares aren't that popular at home, so maybe, you know, toys is a quick way of playing with your dog, tiring them out or whatever, and doing things like that. Our dogs growing up didn't have a lot of toys. I don't know whether that's because we didn't, so that the dogs weren't our main focus. I'm not sure, but yeah, no, there's definitely a lot of dog toys being sold, and especially squeaky toys, which we tell people all the time, no squeaky toys.
Dogs almost get killed at daycare because of squeaky toys. We won't talk about that. We'll say I have articles about that. You can go on balanceddogsllc.com/newsletter, or articles. I think it's articles. In Scotland, not the wrong side. It's called The Other Side of the Road, not the Wrong Side. Is that what... Alicia, you're so funny. Hey, Randy. Philip, work with a creature, creating value and play and engagement. Yeah, man. I mean, I just... like, socialize, and people always ask me that, like, oh, if you had a puppy now, what would you do? I'd socialize the shit out of him with everything. I mean, like, Keto went spin around horses. That one thing I haven't socialized her enough with is cats, and that's because of the things I did with her before. Mm-hmm. So, like, she doesn't chase them or anything, but she definitely is looking for a cat to make a choice that she's wants to be chased. Just like, give me a reason, please. Like that dog, like Frankie was doing today. Frankie was putting that same pressure. So Gilbert today, the dog, if you watched the live feed this morning, he has a little bit of barrier frustration. I got to see that today. It was pretty fascinating. So he was doing this, like, you know, so he was barking at the squirrel because he couldn't run, which then, see, I don't know how he learned this word. I swear to God, I've never, you could say that word so casually to him and he gets so amped up by it. Isn't that crazy? I don't know how he learned that. Because we don't chase them. Like, I don't know if my dad taught him that. It's crazy. I mean, he's so smart, but that's a whole nother problem. Irrelevant. I never say that word, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, I totally lost where I was going with that. But anyway, do you remember? I can't remember.
Oh, Gilbert and the barrier frustration.
Oh, yeah, Gilbert and the barrier. She's so smart. Thank you. That's why she's here. Because of her knowledge. Yeah, and it was great watching him and Kita, because Kita wants to play and he's barking intensely, but it's almost like there's a fence in front of him. He was like, and if that wasn't there, I'd be a big chicken shit. But he figured it out. And then Frankie later was making more physical contact, and he was acting weird, and she was just looking for a reason, like, dude, give me a reason. And then she almost found a reason, and then he lost his shit on Isabel, which was really good. I mean, in a good way, because she's trying to bridge that contact. She wants to make that contact, which is what he needs. He needs to make, I mean, because the barrier is what caused, it's a long story. Anyway, when I say lost his shit, I'm talking about like healthy, like the explosion you need to go through to be like, yes, I got it. I know what to do now. Okay, anyway, are there human societies or SPCA facilities in Scotland without leash laws? Are dogs picked up frequently? So how does your rescue system work? Do you have private?
So if there's like a dog wandering around it and I can't find the owner or whatever, you would pick it up, you'd phone the dog warden, they would take it in for I think maybe 7 days or something like that, and then it would go to some sort of rescue, then go back to the owner. There's a lot of different rescues, so anyone could start a dog rescue, but that's the same here, isn't it?
Yeah, you just have to, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know how many dogs get picked up as strays. I'll find out for you.
That's interesting, yeah. All right, well, that's it. I hope everybody has a wonderful evening. She's here for a couple more days, so if you have some questions, leave them. We'll wrap. Do you have anything you want to share?
Just wondering what we're having for dinner.
It's dinner time, most importantly. I'll talk to you guys later.